every time I see you walking out my door. I wanna grab a frying pan and lay you out on the floor. That filth you talk, that stench just flies out of you. I should have listened, yeah, I should have. Said you loved me, I should have picked up and ride. Grabbed my unicycle and rode to Japan. Hang out with some geisha girls, sing karaoke and get a tattoo. Do everyone and everything to forget about you.
Hey Leute! Es geht endlich wieder weiter mit neuen Folgen Ungeschminkt. Der echte Mädels-Talk mit tollen Themen, wie zum Beispiel Erfolg auf TikTok.
Kannst dein Glück haben und dein erstes Video hat direkt 1 Million Aufrufe.
Tipps für eine lange Beziehung.
Wenn man immer offen und ehrlich ist, dann funktioniert es halt.
Und wie man BFF Forever wird.
Ja, ich habe halt immer ein offenes Ohr und immer Pussy da.
So let's talk about
that filth you talk, that stench just flies out of you. I should have listened, yeah, I should have. Said you loved me, I should have picked up and ride. Grabbed my unicycle and rode to Japan. Hang out with some geisha girls, sing karaoke and get a tattoo. Do everyone and everything to forget about you. So here we are again, another day, another non-dollar because of everything shut down. You know, no one can go to work. Goddamn people. So here we are again. We are at PCP, Political Commentary Page, hosted by me, the Lost American. I am lost, absolutely. I'm not lost. My country's lost. It's not really my country. It's a country in which I was born in. And that's something else. I heard that the amount of people denouncing their citizenship has just skyrocketed. I mean, that's something that happens quite often, but it's really increased. And of course, it's just if you really look at it, in order for you to denounce your citizenship, it costs you. It costs you money to say, I don't want to be a part of this organization anymore. If that's the case, then you're actually buying your freedom. No? And but then comes the problem. What are you going to do from there? Yeah, because pretty much every place you go demands some sort of allegiance, depending on where you live. Yeah, they all want some sort of allegiance from you. But I thought that was kind of interesting that the increase in the amount of people denouncing their citizenships has jumped drastically. Here we have our Discord call-in line right here, and we have our Skype call-in line. Basically, with Skype, all you have to do is just send a request to that link right there, and I will accept it. And then when the time is right, I'll put you in, yeah? We are an open lines show. You can talk virtually about anything you want to talk. Doesn't have to be related to politics. It could be about anything. Your goldfish, if you'd like. You know, do people still have goldfish? Probably do. You can probably hear the birds outside singing. I am outside in my 1,800-year-old barn, and we are sending this out in the southern Germany, located in a very small farming village of 11 houses. My house happens just to be one of them. In the barn also. Jumped on the internet today and took a look at some news to find out exactly where everything stands. I saw a poll the other day that basically ranked the countries and which percentage of people within the country want to see their state reopened. America was pretty down there, like 35% or something like that. I was really surprised that here in Germany, where everybody follows rules, it's right down the middle, 50%. I was shocked. I'm not exactly sure how much weight I put into that poll, but needless to say, I guess it is out there. A couple stories that I took a quick look at here. And the one I'm sure you've seen a little bit, yeah, about the latest press conference with Donald Trump, and about how people are just freaking out about it, yeah. Again, if you are a first-time listener here, I don't support Donald Trump. I don't support any politicians. They're all liars and thieves, period. History will back me up on that 100%. Somebody wrote on a Facebook post that at first they supported Trump, but then he wasn't coming through with his promises. Well, which politician does? Well, he promised during his campaign that blah, 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 blah. Well, that's business as usual. Politicians do not, follow through with their campaign promises. They're promising this because that's what people want to hear. And it will gather them votes. That's all there is to it. So, I don't know. I think it's childish for someone to base their opinion on a politician based on if they keep their promises, because none of them keep their promises. None of them. But yeah, there was a press conference, and Donald Trump apparently he ended it after he had a heated exchange, is what they say. Didn't really look too heated to me, but he cut it short. And what we're going to do is listen to it here and chat about it a little bit. So here we go.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Okay, stop right there. Every day, more Americans are losing their lives, just like every day. Let's continue.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes,
Now look at her. She looks kind of shocked. Now, looking at her, you can tell she has some sort of Asian descent. Now, people might be upset with me already by saying, well, that's racist. How could you assume that? Well, I'm sorry, but to me, she looks, I don't know if it's Filipino. Maybe it could be Filipino. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know. But she looks a little bit flabbergasted. And because he asked her, maybe you should ask China. And so she's probably assuming, what? Just because I look Chinese, you're asking me to ask China? Well, let's see how this plays out here.
behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm
That I
telling
should
you,
ask
I'm not
China?
saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question
That's
like
not
that.
a nasty.
Okay. If you take the word out nasty, then I would be A-OK with his response. Yeah. I didn't ask it specifically to you. I would ask this question specifically to anyone. Makes no difference how you look or your background or your ethnicity. I would just ask this question. Now, of course, he wants to, pose it that way because there is a theory out there that this is a man-made virus that originated in China and somehow got out. But nevertheless, I don't think he was asking it to her just because she looks Asian. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Please go ahead.
Let's continue.
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll
you
go over
pointed
here.
to me. I have two questions, Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young
to,
lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish.
Okay.
But can I ask you a
Ladies and
question,
gentlemen,
please?
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
you called
Thank you
on
very much.
Okay. That's that. End of story. So, you tell me. Was that racist of him to ask that specific person that question? Yeah? What? Don't ask me. Why don't you ask China? Was it racist? Doesn't sound like it. I mean, I don't think it was. But for people who are looking to find anything they can to, attack this individual, then they're going to use whatever they have out there. And that was an opportunity, and they took it, plain and simple. The next thing I got here happens in Singapore. Again, I've talked numerous of times about social distancing. New York State having their own social distancing patrols. And as I said, before any incidents took place, I said there were going to be violent arrests, and sooner or later someone will get shot and killed. Now, everything that I have said has come to light. But now we're thinking about, why do we have police officers do this job, put them in harm's way? One of them got shot. Why don't we just use robots? We're already using drones in some area. They are using your phones to track you, to make sure you are adhering to these rules. But now, ta-da, Singapore. They are using robots. Yeah. Singapore is trying to get a new way to get its residents to stay away from each other. On Friday, the government announced it would start deploying Spot, Boston Dynamics' famous yellow and black canine robot, at one local park. The four-legged robot dog will patrol the area starting this weekend and broadcast a pre-recorded message to visitors to remind them of the importance of social distancing. Yeah, authorities said. The device will be equipped with cameras that will scan the surroundings and help officials estimate the number of people gathered in parks. These cameras will not be able to track and or recognize specific individuals. And no personal data will be collected. Okay, this is all bullshit. We all know this. This is ridiculous. All this information is going to be recorded. It is going to be recorded to be used in perhaps if there is a future reference back to this certain case. Yeah? I mean, what good is it then? What good is a robot dog out there with cameras that sends out a pre-recorded message and then people ignore the message? They kick the dog or they throw something at the dog, robot dog. How are they going to charge these people with any of these, crimes or breaking these rules? They have to go back to evidence, and the evidence will be the video that this robot dog records. Yeah? I mean, that's obvious. That's absolutely obvious. I don't know why they said that it's not going to record. I guess they said it because there are people out there who believe that. Yeah? So, what else do we have on this story here? Here we go. I got a video on this also. Let's take a look at this video here, and we'll talk about it. So that's what the dog looks like, the robot thing. Spot the dog, broadcast a recorded safety message, right?
For your own safety and for those around you, please stand at least 1 meter apart. Thank you.
Okay. I wonder, somebody should just steal that thing, no? I mean, somebody should steal that. Sell it on the black market. I mean, I'm sure there's a GPS tracking device in it in case somebody does steal it. Yeah. So, okay, well, that's what we're coming to, and fairly soon we're not going to have these robot dogs anymore. We're going to have full-fledged walking robots out there. And what's worse is they are going to be giving the authority to arrest people. And there's going to be, they're going to be weaponized. Yeah, maybe not with deadly force, but perhaps with sonic, sound waves that are used to disperse people. They might be weaponized with mace, or who knows. But that is the next obvious step. That is the next obvious step, and it will happen. So be prepared within the next, let me see, depending on where you live. I think in the U.S., be prepared within the next month and a half. I'll give it 50 days. No, that's too long. Because there will be a spike in cases. There will be a spike in deaths fairly soon. So give it 45 days, 46 days, and you're going to be seeing a story about a park near you being patrolled by a robot to enforce social distancing measures. Mark my words, in 46 days. Mark it on your calendar. I'm sure you've got a phone right there. Yeah, put it in your calendar right now. 45 days. The Lost American says that I'm going to be reading a story about a robot patrolling the area. Okay, it doesn't have to be a park, just the streets. It's going to happen. It's clear, it's obvious, it's common sense. And speaking of a rise in cases, a new rise in cases that I predict will happen fairly soon. And just because I'm thinking that it's going to happen doesn't mean that I support any stay-at-home rules, not one bit. If you do, then call in and tell us why. Yeah? I'm not here to ridicule anybody. I'm here to listen, to reason, and listen to other people's opinions. Because like I've said time and time again, I'm no guru. I don't have any answers. I'm not sure. I just basically follow common sense. From point A to point B equals point C. It's quite clear. We just look at cases of history. Yeah? And no, we don't learn from it. We absolutely do not learn from it. I have this other story that one thing that has been kind of left out is, well, at first, everybody was focused on the deaths. Yeah? People die because of this, which is true. Mm-hmm. And then, because of the actions that government has taken, people lose their jobs because of this. And people can't pay rent because of this. Okay, that's going to happen. But I'm not just talking about one government. I'm talking about governments, around the world. And especially in America, the government south of you, the Mexican government. Yeah? These people are going to be really struck hard because unemployment was already really high. It's difficult to find a job there. What do you think is going to happen? There is going to be a wave like you've never saw before of people coming over the border. And there is nothing that you can do about it. Unless if you want to stand at the border with an AK or an MP5 or whatever the hell you have and just, pick them off as they come across, because it's not going to happen. These people will be coming. And if you have any sense of liberty and freedom, you let them come. You let them come. I mean, think about yourself. In your case, what would you do if your country became derelict and your government had totally taken over and there was nothing there for you? You're going to go somewhere else. You're going to go somewhere else, and you have the freedom to go somewhere else. It's all these imaginary lines that we've put out in the sand, which have been, put there through decades of war, through death and destruction, that now we claim this is our area. And just because you're born within a 2-mile radius of the border or whatever, one step across this area, you're not a citizen. When one step here, you are. Doesn't mean you have any stake in this. You don't have any stake in it. You have no control over tax dollars and where they're spent. Oh, all the jobs go to the immigrants. They take our jobs. They're not your jobs. They are not your jobs. You don't own the job. That is a position that a company wants to fill. And they will fill it with the best person for the job at the best price they can find. Yeah, what do you think? They're going to give an illegal immigrant whose English is terrible, you think they're going to give them a job in writing or speaking or dealing with the public? Of course not. Just because they do it cheaper, that doesn't make anything. If they can't do the job that they're being hired for, then they're not going to hire them. But we are going to have, not we, the U.S. is going to have a major influx of immigrants coming through its southern border fairly soon. Again, I will have to say, one of my 2 favorite words, it's common sense that this is going to happen. Mr. Trump's wall that he was going to build, of course, is not sufficient enough, nor is it completed enough, nor would it make a difference. People will find a way. Whether it is with a paraglider, tunneling system, boats, people will find a way. A wall is not a deterrent. It's a challenge. And people love challenges. So get ready for that. Yeah? And if this coronavirus wasn't good enough to subdue the weak-minded, boy, I sound kind of opinionated, don't I? Okay, I better tone it down. If the coronavirus wasn't enough to totally instill fear in people, we got to come up with something else. The icing on the cake, the murder hornets. We'll bring them into play. And then we're going to find somebody. We're going to find a story about someone who was killed by one of these things. And lo and behold, we did. Spain is on alert as a giant Asian hornets kill their first victim. Now, I have a problem with this headline right there, and you should too. Their first victim? Like they planned this. All right, guys, let's fly over this, this big bottle of water here, this big area, and we're going to go to Spain. No, not Italy, not Greece, no, France, no, we're going to Spain, and we're going to find Jose. Yeah, he wronged me a long time ago, or one of his ancestors did, and we're going to sneak up on him, and I'm going to sting him and kill him. I mean, it sounds like it gives these hornets a reputation. Not just a reputation, it gives them something that people can relate to, a victim. We have a perpetrator and a victim. I'm sorry, but bees, hornets, they don't have victims. They have people who get in their way. Let's see here. A man has died in Santiago after being stung by a giant Asian hornet. A 54-year-old man lost his life yesterday in Santiago as a result of a sting of a giant Asian hornet after discovering that there was a nest next to the hives that he looked after, which were located very close to his home. So basically, he's a beekeeper. Yeah. Paramedics were quick to respond to the scene, but sadly, the man was dead when they got there. The man's friend, a fellow beekeeper, had called the emergency services when he found his friend on the floor close to a hive. Okay. Was he allergic? He probably wasn't allergic to bees. Yeah, if he's a beekeeper, that would kind of make sense here. Reportedly, the insect had stung the man on the eyebrow, which proved fatal. The deadly creature then flew off, leaving the victim dead. Again, we have this word victim. We are putting a target on these things, something else to fear, because you will become their next victim. Wow. I can't believe that. Who the fuck wrote this story? Where the hell did this come from anyway? Let's see here. Euro Weekly News by Tony Winterburn. Tony Winterburn, you're a dickhead. I'm sorry. That's just terrible. Asian giant hornets, known by their horrifying nickname murder hornets, have been spotted for the first time in the U.S. recently. As the world's largest hornets, these insects can grow up to 2 inches long or are capable of slaughtering entire colonies of bees and even killing people. Up to 50 people a year are killed by giant hornets in Japan alone. 50 people a year. How many people die of shark attacks? How many people die of rattlesnake bites? How many people die of spider bites a year? We don't have any major stories on these. The arachnids are out. They are seeking their next victim. Pray it isn't you. Researchers fear that if the hornets aren't contained now, they might establish themselves in the U.S. permanently and cause damage to the ecosystems. So, yeah. I mean, that's what happens when a non-native creature enters into a new ecosystem, is sometimes destroy the original ecosystem. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. Things move. Things change. And that's all there is to it. Sorry. I think that's how, was it France? Somebody brought a California bullfrog to France at one time, and it just started eating all the little French frogs. So, so yeah, we got something else to be scared about now. Now, instead of keeping your kids home from school or not going to work because of the coronavirus, you should stay home because you might be the next victim of the murder hornets. Arr, crazy, just crazy. So how are things going with you today? Are you having a good day? Things are going fine here. I just came back from a a home improvement store. I had to pick up some supplies that I'm restoring a room in the house. And yeah, people out there in their masks, people clearly avoiding being in close contact with anybody. Yeah, going down the aisles. They have a very clear, they've locked out, there's one entrance and one exit. And isn't that against fire safety laws? I think it is. But, and people are going along with this, except, and this was crazy, at the checkout, I go to this checkout where you can do it yourself, yeah? Just so I can get in and out, and I don't have to stand in line and deal with people. And so I go there, scan my stuff, bleak, 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 put my card in, and then walk out. And as I'm walking out, one of the cash registers, not the cash register, the person behind the cash register, he wasn't wearing a mask. I thought, that's odd. He's the only one in the store not wearing a mask. Weird. I don't know if the stores can fire you for not wearing a mask. Can they? I mean, it's a private company. And yes, they can make rules, whatever they want to in a private company, but can they change those rules at any time and enforce them on old employees who these rules were not in place when they started working there? I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, kudos to the guy, I guess. I got another story here, a short one. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I can't really find it. I talked about it a couple days ago. But I do have stories about diners, restaurant owners, that they want to open up their restaurant. They want to go against the rules that the governors have laid out. Elon Musk is taking a stand, man. He is taking a stand. And whether you like the guy or not, you got to support that stand. I mean, he's very opinionated. He's used the terms dictatorship, fascist. And I agree with him 100%. Telling the state of California, I'm going to open up my factory, whether you want me to or not. And now we have restaurant owners doing the exact same thing. I need to open my restaurant. Not just for me, but also for my employees, the ones that are dependent on their job. And not just them, but perhaps their family members. And not just them, the people whom they owe money to, perhaps a landlord, perhaps someone who, or perhaps a car payment, electricity payments, water, garbage, phone, all of their creditors, all their debtors. It's a vicious circle. Yeah, it's how it operates. This person pays me. From this money, I pay them, I pay them, I pay them. And they, in turn, pay their employees and their, suppliers where they get their product from. That's how things work. So the restaurant owners want to open up their business, and I would totally agree with them. Here I have a short video here of just one of those people who would like to see it opened up. Let's listen and see what he has to say. If it loads. There we go.
As Governor Cuomo lays out guidelines for eventually reopening businesses in New York, one diner owner says enough is enough. The time to reopen is now. The reason? Businesses like his, hours away from New York City, risk losing everything despite a low number of coronavirus cases. So here, the owner of Crazy Otto's Empire Diner in Herkimer, New York, Scott Tranter joins us. Scott, good morning. Crazy Otto's Empire Diner, I love it. It's a great name, but really, unfortunately, we're talking to you because you are facing really tough choices. Explain.
Well, thanks, Griff. Thanks for having me on this morning. This has been absolutely devastating. We in Herkimer here are not downplaying the coronavirus. It's real. I have a daughter-in-law on the front lines, a sister-in-law in Massachusetts. It's real, but it's not like that up here. We've had basically, not to minimize this, 3 deaths, 19 people have it, no hospitalizations. Devastating economically, the businesses that have closed that are never going to reopen. We had 22 employees that we had to lay off. We just got the PCP,
22.
brought them all, 15 of them back last week. And, some of your prior segments talks about the importance of opening up business-wise. If you look at the statistics, you look at the data, there's no reason why we can't open up now. And that's my message to the governor. They keep changing the goalposts. They keep changing the dates. They keep moving it forward. And now restaurants, basically, they're saying phase 3 or phase 4. And you're talking July. And the businesses will, especially the mom and pop organizations, will not be able to hold out.
No way.
Till
So,
July.
Scott, you mentioned the phase 3. So Governor Cuomo has said starting this coming Friday, May 15th, they can start looking at reopening, but you would be restaurants in that phase 3 category would be much prolonged. How much, if you put a monetary number on it, how much have you lost to this date, and how much do you anticipate losing if you can't reopen sooner rather than later?
Well, one of the things on your prior segments, I've lost approximately $160,000 so far. Okay, and if you look at the actual statistics and the PPP loans and the 8 weeks that you have to use the money, bringing the employees back, I will have to lay off the majority of the employees again, okay, come June, because we still will not be open. And there's no way that you can keep a business running and your capital investment and everything. If the money's not there, the money's not there. And so you're setting yourself up for the double whammy, because while you're trying to hold your employees in, you know it's going to run out. We need to have the choice and have people come in, to our restaurant to eat.
Thank you for joining us today. We've run out of time. I want to keep in touch with you because your story is quite like many Americans all across the country.
That's the story.
Wish you well. Hopefully the governor.
It's not the only. There are many business owners like that. And he's had to lay off quite a bit of people, which is, common sense. Of course, they're going to have to. If they have no income coming in, they're going to have to lay them off. So I want to hear, how can you support these lockdown measures? How can you support a government which has taken the power to force businesses to close? Some of them are opening back up with heavy restrictions, but how could you have allowed it to get this far to begin with? America needs to change, and whatever other country that has in their anthem, if there's any words like freedom, free, brave, those have to be striked out and removed. We can no longer say, for the land of the free. Can't say that anymore. Can't say it. Give me one reason why we could say it. Even before this, it was never free. And the home of the chained. Yeah, let's make it in the home of the chained. I don't know what to replace free with. Maybe you can help me out. The land of the something and the home of the chained. Because that's what it is. Yeah? It's cowardice. I've got one other thing here. Yeah, I'll be back later on tonight. Like I said, I'm working on a big restoration project. And when you end up, purchasing or buying a house that was built in the 1800s, you're going to have a lot of that. But this is something that I saw that I despise this person. Now I know, Twitch is, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Mixer, YouTube, and so I have to be be careful because what I say might be considered hate speech. What anybody says anymore can be considered hate speech. But I do not like this individual. I'll just go there. Yeah. She, I think, is incredibly corrupt. She has no connection. No politicians have a connection with what really goes on in the real world. But here she is talking about stimulus. Yeah. Again, another one. Make everyone dependent on the government. Nancy Pelosi, I give you the one and only Nancy Pelosi.
Counterpart, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy called it a liberal wish list of a bunch of items that you wanted to have passed even before the coronavirus pandemic happened. What's your response to that? I mean, is this very specifically coronavirus focused, or are there things in here that have nothing to do with it?
He knows that that's what he said isn't so. But putting that aside, I can't be bothered about what others say. What I'm proud of is what we are doing. And the fact is that in all four of the bills that have passed before, they've all been bipartisan. And we've all, in our caucus, have agreed that everything is coronavirus-centric and also in a timely way that relates to the virus. It's too...
You can't believe her. Everything is coronavirus-centered. This is a lie. But again, she's a politician.
Deadly to our lives, to our livelihood, to our democracy, for us
democracy?
to use it for any other purpose.
Democracy? There is no democracy. What are you talking about?
So when the money for state and local is to allay the cost of the, defray the cost of the
speak clearly
outlays they've made for coronavirus and the revenue lost because of the coronavirus.
The revenue has not been lost because of the coronavirus. I have said this time and time again. The coronavirus doesn't take revenue. You, woman, and you governors, you are the reason why revenue has been lost. You are the reason why the unemployment rate has gone sky high. It's not the coronavirus. That doesn't have the capability of doing these things. Politicians do. So don't put the blame on the coronavirus. The coronavirus is just that, a virus.
3 pillars. Honor our heroes by supporting our state and local entities so that they don't lose their jobs. These heroes don't lose their jobs.
They have lost their jobs.
Open up government by testing.
Who is she saying a hero is? I'll tell you who a hero is. A hero is a frickin' truck driver that brings products from point A to point B. They are the heroes. The truck drivers are the heroes. The people working everyday jobs, leading everyday lives. They are heroes.
Tracing, treatment, etc. And the third is putting money in the pockets of the American people. All of it timed and centric to the...
The third is putting money into the pockets of the American people. Are we supposed to be happy? Are we supposed to be thankful for that? You guys are the reasons why the money was taken from our pockets to begin with. First, we're going to take a baseball bat, we're going to beat the shit out of you, and then we're going to give you a Band-Aid, and we expect you to be thankful. The audacity.
Coronavirus.
The hubris.
It would be an endless amount of money if we put our wish list for the future in there, but that is not what the case is. And sometimes I get a little heat from my own folks who say, why can't we do this in this bill and that in the bill? Because that's not what the bill's about. This bill is for this purpose. Right. And it's a big price, but it's a big problem. And the chairman of the Fed said, think big because the interest rates will never be lower. And so they've used the interest rates to give confidence that credit will be available because the interest rates are low. We want those same interest rates. And they use it to bolster the stock market. We want to use it to bolster the American people.
You want to use it to bolster the American people. You and your cohorts and anyone else, not, governors, you are the reason why the American people are hurting so much. And not just in America, but around the rest of the world. All of them should be the target here, not the virus. Because as I said, a virus is a virus. It can't force a business owner to shut its doors, can it? It can't pass laws and regulations, can it? It doesn't have the power and the force of the police department at their back now, do they? Or does it? No, it doesn't. We are putting the blame in the wrong area. But that's what the mainstream media does. Yeah? They manipulate the story. They get you to, put the blame where they want it to go. When it comes to the Republican side, they will put it to the Democrats. The Democratic governors who've closed these states and whatnot. They are the ones that have caused the unemployment rate to skyrocket. Yeah. That's what the Republicans do. The Democrats, on the other hand, they're basically using this as a way to create a more blanketed government package that has control over every single thing you do. And I've mentioned this in the past, once this vaccine is found, it's going to be made mandatory. It might not be. It might not be made mandatory to where they come house to house and inject everybody. But for those of you who do not have a certificate of cleanliness, you're going to be flagged. Yeah? It's going to be hard for you to get a job. It's going to be hard for you to rent an apartment. It's going to be hard for you to get a loan because you are one of the unclean. And just do what we say. Yeah? Come on, guys. We have your best interest at heart. Too many Americans are dying because of this, and we just have to support them. They're losing their jobs, and it just makes us feel so bad. We've got to do something about it. That's the Democratic point of view. Yeah? And you just want to slap the shit out of those people because they are the ones causing it. They're the ones causing it. Like I said, beat you on the head with a baseball bat and then give you a Band-Aid and expect you to thank them. There will be an increase of deaths. Of course. There will be an increase of new cases. Of course. That's what a virus does. It kind of, goes out there and spreads. Just like the common flu. And I have yet to hear anybody give me any logical reason why we need to shut everything down. Yeah? One logical, I wouldn't say it's logical, but one reason is, because it's not only you're putting at risk, you're putting everyone else at risk by going out. Okay. I've heard that argument. And my argument is, every day I step out of my house, I have the potential of putting other people at risk. Every time I sit behind my car, I'm in my car, sit behind the wheel, I put someone else at risk. I put people at risk every single day. I try to limit that risk. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about trying to limit the risk. No, you're not. No, you're not. What do you think? I'd love to hear what other people say. I'd love to hear some other opinions. Yeah? I'm not here to rip people apart. I really want to know more. I think this is just on the surface. There's something much deeper going on. Much deeper. So, if you like what you heard today, Or if you don't like what you heard today and you want to get together with some buddies and, attack me, that's great. Do it. I'd love to hear it. We've got the Discord call-in line over there and the Skype call-in line. All you got to do is send a request and I'll accept it. So I will be back later on this evening. Hopefully we can get some conversation going. So if this is your first time here, welcome. If it's your second time or third time here, welcome also. Thanks for coming back. And until next time, take care.